So as you can see, the webhook has now received the data from the Apify webhook call, so that's great. Now, I must admit, I actually made a mistake in the webhook integration on Appify. I put the wrong webhook URL in there, so the data that we're going to see is going to be slightly different to the data that I just showed you before. But luckily, we still got a whole bunch of emails, so that's good. Now, this data that gets sent by the webhook call is not the actual raw data. It's just metadata about the data, which is a bit annoying. But we can now collect this data using another API request. So the webhook call is done. That's all good. Let me pin this data so that I don't have to recollect it. Now we need to make a HTTP request to gather this data from the Appify APIs. For reference, we're going to be using the getDatasetItems API. So this is the documentation. Essentially, in that metadata that got sent to us by the webhook call, we got a dataset ID, and we're going to use this dataset ID to then collect all of the items from that dataset. So you can actually just copy this URL here and come back to the HTTP request. Actually, it is a GET request, so that all looks fine. You can paste that in here, and then where it has a placeholder for the dataset ID, we want to replace this with coming to the body, and then somewhere near the bottom of the resource there should be a default dataset ID. There we go. Put that in here, and just pasted it right at the end for some reason, which is not where I wanted it, but there it is. Nice. The only other thing that we need to do is we need to send some headers with our authentication. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build up the headers using JSON. You'll be able to see what the headers should look like from the API requests. Basically, we just need to set an accept header, and a bearer token. Let me just check the documentation again. It doesn't say it in that particular API request, but it does in this one. So this is the structure that we want. Authorization, and then bearer token at the end. Now, I'm not going to put my token in here now because all of you are probably going to steal it, but I'll put it in here later before we send the API request. So that all looks good. To get your API key, go back to Appify, and you need to go to your account. So your account page should look something like this, and then click on API integrations in the top corner. Then what you can do is you can just copy the API key here as well. So now I'm going to paste the API key into the API request, and I'll show you what the results look like. So I pasted my API key in, now removed it because it's not there anymore, and I've pinned the data that has come back from this API request. So if I go to the JSON output, you can see I've got 5 items, and I've got all this information about these restaurants. Things like opening times, a URL to actually reserve a table, different service options, their social media pages, phone numbers, emails. It's actually pretty ridiculous. So that is the step where we're collecting the data from the dataset. So that's all good. Let's just save it as we're going.